Okay, so we're here with Matt Marin, and you have the movie. Was it 3:33 a.m.?
That's correct. I'm the writer, director, producer.
Cool, you did it all, huh?
Yeah.
Now, so what made you come up with the idea for this film?
Yeah. This is the first time I ever made a short, and I've always wanted to get into film, but I've never pushed myself for many years. And one day I was standing on the subway platform in Astoria, Queens, and I was thinking to myself, what would be like a cool sort of premise for a short film? And at the time, I was thinking about some family and friends who are mostly young couples who just had babies enter the relationship. And I noticed how the relationship kind of changes once a baby enters the dynamic of the family. So I came up with a weird idea about doing a horror short comedy, actually, about a baby that wakes up in the middle of the night, and the parents sort of go back and forth with taking care of it. And I started writing in 2018, and this is during the time of the hearings for the new Supreme Court judge, and also there was separation of families. So there was a lot of stuff going on with the Trump administration that definitely influenced the story. And as I kept writing it, it just became a little more darker, which I didn't expect. And out of it came an experimental supernatural thriller about a young, insecure husband who comes home during the witching hour. He tries to reconnect with his wife, but accidentally wakes up their baby, and it sets off a series of events in their apartment. It doesn't have any dialogue. The reason why that is for a couple of reasons. This is a couple that's their relationship is fractured and they're not even speaking to each other. And we sort of follow their wants and needs through their actions. And also, I'm a huge fan of Alfred Hitchcock, and I know he said, as he transitioned from the silence to the talkies, if you can tell a film and the sound goes out, we should still be able to know what's going on. So I kind of took that a little bit literally.
And what about the color that you used? Did you film it like that, or was that all post color changings?
Yeah, we filmed it like that. We used gels over the lighting, and also we had one of those big LED light panels.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, it has like a cool neon noir look to it. And there are a couple of reasons why we chose to do that. When I walked through the space with our DP, the walls are very white, and it just looked very plain and didn't really tell a story.
That's what I did here.
Exactly. Yeah. And we decided it would be kind of cool to play around with these different colors because everybody knows that the witching hour between 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. is like a peak period of supernatural occurrences. It's supposed to be an antithesis since Jesus died on the cross somewhere around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. But also there's a science behind it. Around that time is when your body goes into the most deepest sleep possible. So you might have very vivid dreams during that time. And if the slightest thing wakes you up, like maybe a change in temperature or a sound you're not used to outdoors, that might trigger sort of an alarm in the body. And people wake up during that hour feeling a little bit disoriented and have troubles going back to sleep.
Would you? How'd you come up with the actors? Like, did you have auditions, or you knew, or?
A little bit of both. For Mila, who played the mom, I always had her in mind. I used to take screenwriting classes at the Jacob Kruger Screenwriting Studio, and she came and she read some scripts for some readings, and I thought she had like a great range, and so I wrote that script with her in mind. For the father, I wasn't sure of, and as I began casting, someone had told me about Adam. I also met him through the studio, but he had moved back home to North Carolina, so he was kind of off my radar. But someone told me he came back to the city, and we reconnected, and I did a reading with both of them, and they were great. They both performed together. They've done some stuff for some theater groups, so they already had a chemistry. So I was very grateful to have them both.
Oh, wow. And where'd you film?
We filmed at a friend's apartment in Brooklyn. She lives not far from, actually right across the street from BAM. In some of the bedroom images, when you look out the window, you'll see sort of the lights from BAM.
Wow.
And I think finding a great location is so pivotal to the story.
Yeah.
I went searching everywhere. People told me look at Airbnbs, but I don't know how that would work.
Yeah.
So I was very generous to have a friend who let us use it for a weekend, and she was out of the town during the time, so the stars aligned.
That's good. That's great. You said this was your first written, directed short?
Correct.
Well, are you working on anything new? Any follow-ups? Did you write anything new or filming?
Yeah, I'm working on a few screenplays. They're mostly dark dramas. Not horror just yet.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to maybe film something either later this year or early next year as a follow-up.
Cool. It's going to be in the horror thriller set that we have, so it's always a fun group of people. So that'd be like a Saturday night special thing. We used to do that, and then we switch on and off every so often. So it's a fun crowd that we usually get for our little horror set that we have. So it'll be a fun night.
Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I saw a follower last week at Long Island International.
Long Island, yeah, right, yeah.
Really well done. Scott Perry did a fantastic job, and I'm looking forward to seeing the other horror and thriller shorts too.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's always a great crowd, so hopefully we'll see. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So we used to do that. We used to put it on at nighttime. Like we have student films all day Saturday, and then the horror set, and then all day Sunday there's films and award shows and stuff like that. So should be a fun time. A lot of filmmakers. So
yeah, I'm excited. I'll be there both days. I have some friends coming out for the horror short block. We're excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, cool. Anything else you want to talk about the film? So you played at Life. This film here. What other film festivals did you play at?
Yeah, it premiered at Queen's World last November. It was also in the horror block. Mm-hmm. Then it was in Yonkers, also on the horror block. Both of them, those are great festivals.
Yeah.
It was at Erie International Film Festival, nominated for Best Experimental Short. Wow. It was at Austin Revolution Film Festival on the Be My Frankenstein block, which is a lot of fun. Oregon Screams Film Festival in Portland, and I flew out there.
Yeah, no, how was that?
Oh, it was fun. It played at the 13th Street Theater. Beautiful theater, really nice people. I won an award that night. I wasn't expecting it, but it was just gratifying to see it on like a big screen. So that was great.
Oh yeah.
And
seeing it somewhere so far away, so different. It's a cool. Like I had a film that I put into the Houston Horror Film Festival. It's the same weekend as Brightside, so I can't go.
Right.
Oh well. But whatever. I love Houston, so I love going down there. And I went down there for a film festival years ago, so now I go every year.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty cool. Like you start out New York, New Jersey, and this area, and then you start going to film festivals all over the country. I just came back from LA. I was at Dances with Films, and that was something else. So it was pretty cool to kind of expand my horizons and go to all these film festivals outside of our area.
Definitely. Dances with Films is great. I checked out the New York version last December.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah. They told me to submit to that, so I got to.
Oh, good. Yeah, you definitely should. Really nice group of people, very caring. I would definitely submit to them in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I haven't been in LA in so long, so I was like, it was cool. It was a good experience. But I was by myself. No one else came out, so I just made my own fun,
Okay, cool. I used to live in LA for a few years.
Oh, wow.
I'm due for a visit pretty soon.
Oh yeah. So experimental. Why experimental?
I sort of just made this film just to make it. I wasn't really thinking about what genre it might fall in.
Yeah.
And I think it's so experimental because there wasn't any dialogue. It's about 9.5 minutes. And sort of the bold use of color. I know mostly horror films go for like a desaturated look. This one is a little more saturated. And as the film progresses, the colors become even more saturated to give you like a disoriented feel as it progresses.
That way it kind of falls into that horror thriller type of the music and the shots and the little so even though it's experimental, it kind of fits in that realm, I guess. So
yeah, definitely. I saw this movie earlier this year called Skinamarink, and I loved it. It's an experimental horror film, and I thought it was brilliantly done. And hopefully we'll see more of them in the future. I think horror is one of my favorite genres, and there's so much room to play around with.
Yeah, they have festivals and cons. They're just great audience, great people that go see these horror films. So
definitely, I find that at horror festivals or even like horror blocks at other festivals, horror fans for whatever reason are like the nicest people.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and I love making horror films. I love going behind the scenes. It's just so much fun to do, So yeah, well, thanks for giving me a few minutes here tonight, and yeah, hopefully have a good time. It's less than 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Look forward to meeting you. I think it's going to be a great time. These films look fantastic, and yeah, thank you so much for accepting us.
Yeah, absolutely. We're here with AJ Favorito, and your film is Waterlogged.
Mm-hmm.
Right, cool.
Yeah,
I've seen it before at festivals, so that was cool when I came in there. What made you come up with the idea for it?
All right, so the original idea was basically inspired by a similar event that happened to me back in 2019, where I had a similar thing where I had a basically like a bag that was full of a bunch of stuff, and I had a water bottle leak in it, and then and then that damaged my laptop, and then basically the idea of like getting screwed over by the boss was inspired by just I was in college at the time, and they bring on a lot of alumni, and a lot of them were telling like horror stories about like people they were working with. So I wanted to basically tell a story, not about the person I hope to be, but the person I hope not to be. So that's when I came up with the idea of basically having a person who's being taken advantage of stand up for themselves.
Now, was this like a thesis film that you did, or just a regular college film, or was this?
No, this was my senior thesis.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Basically, this was during COVID times, and I wanted to basically write a story that I knew I would be capable of shooting, and I also wanted to work with the limitations I had at the time. So I decided I can tell with basically one location, and we weren't allowed to have more than 10 people on set at the same time. Like, okay, so I presumably won't be able to have more than 2-3 actors on screen at one time. So I'm going to try to create a story with that limitation. And that's also, and that's how I came to the idea of basically having a story where a decent chunk of it is just one guy, I alone with his thoughts.
Was it tough filming during that time and going through all those rules and regulations and making sure everything was all right?
Filming itself was pretty straightforward. We basically shot it over the course of 2 weekends. Where we shot on Saturday, Sunday the first weekend, and then we shot an additional Saturday the following weekend. And the fun part was post-production, where we had a lot of delays with that, and that led to originally I had the original editing process took a little longer than I would have liked to, and then I had a lot of issues with the sound mixer, and then the original sound mixer ended up leaving after being non-responsive for almost a couple months.
Wow.
But then I had a friend that stepped in and was able to finish the sound mixing, and then ended up doing the color stuff. And eventually we got it done, and that's why I wasn't able to complete it until this year.
Oh, yeah. Well, they right into it. That's the stuff that happens in the movie business all the time. So you got right into it. So get used to it already. Yeah. So you had this film, and now you have it screening. When did you start screening it in festivals?
Actually, the Grove was my first festival.
Okay.
Oh, this would be the second, but I'm also waiting to hear back from a few people. I know there's one I've been talking to of the people in the fall, and then there also is like an online one that's coming up as well.
Cool. Yeah. How did you go about getting the actors then? It wasn't too many, but how did you go about? Did you know the people, or did you go to backstage or something? Or?
Yeah, basically went through the casting process and backstage. I did that over the course of, I want to say about like 2 months, where I basically did a bunch of like test auditions, and then we did a couple of script read-throughs, and that was my first time like actually using being backstage and just not doing a short film with my friends and just fellow college students. So I found like the casting process interesting, and I feel like that was something I was able to easily adapt to.
Yeah, it's I love doing it too. It is interesting. Yeah. So after this film, are you graduated now or finished?
Yes, I graduated in 2021.
Mhm. And then have you worked on or have anything written that you're working on now, or anything else that you did film or finish?
Um, I I do have like a couple things written, but currently I'm mainly doing a lot of work in like non-scripted media. Like I did a lot of social media stuff for the New York Jets this previous season, and in the and then starting in a few weeks, I'm going to actually be doing some stuff with the NBA. So
Well,
I've been doing a lot of like non-scripted stuff in media. I definitely would be interested in going back to scripted media at some point. Or like I said, I have some stuff written, and if I have the time in order to film it, I definitely would be interested in it. But right now, I just have somewhat of a busy schedule.
oh yeah, well, we all know how that goes too.
Yeah.
So what do you usually like, comedy, or is it just so happen to be, or comedy or horror? What's your like favorite genre that you would do?
And I would say I tend to like to work in comedy. Yeah, that's where a lot of my interest started with. I was a screenwriting minor in college, and we basically had like a mock writers room for like a sitcom, and I really liked being able to bounce like jokes off each other. I really like that. And one of my favorite moments is when we were doing read through. It was of one of the short films I made, and just having everyone laugh at something I wrote was like, this feels good. I
Yeah,
like this.
that's a good feeling, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how did you feel when we screened it? Did you screen it in front of college students first, or was it the festival? How did you feel in your first screening of it with an audience?
In turn, uh, okay, so The Grove was my first like public screening of it. I obviously showed it to a bunch of the cast and crew after it was finished, but like that wasn't a full screening. That was just the thing to it, and then they were able to watch it on their own time. But yeah, I definitely like the feeling of everyone being able to see this thing that I spent a lot of time working on and
Yeah, right.
I put a lot of effort into doing.
Oh, great. Yeah. So now, so you've been at the Brightside. You saw that. So this is a little different. We have Saturday. We have the student films, and then an award show, and then on Saturday night we're gonna have a horror set. And then all day Sunday there are films. But it's a lot of fun, and we have a good time. A lot of people. So it's about 100 films playing. So it's quite a bit. So we'll see how it goes. But
Mhm.
it's cool to see it again, and to be screening your film again. Did was any of your actors or production people, were they there the other night that you showed it there, or was it just you?
Uh, it was just me and family at the last screening. A lot of I went to school in Drexel, so a lot of the
Yeah.
people were like Philadelphia.
Oh,
So a little bit of a hike to get there.
yeah,
Or,
yeah.
all right, yeah, I've told them that. I've reached out to everyone and said that's going to be at another screening, whether or not anyone has the time to do that, because also like everyone has their busy schedules now as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way it is, especially in the summer too. So did you film near Drexel?
I yes, we filmed at an office building in downtown Philadelphia.
Mhm.
Like we were right near. We basically were right near like Independence Hall. We were like 2 blocks from there at an office there.
No.
So nothing was really like that hard to get to. We basically did a lot of transportation with like, once again, a college thing would be like, okay, who has a car? All right, this time of day. Okay, all right. If you're willing to put all the equipment in from the building into this office, I will pay for your gas for the week.
Wow. Yeah. How did you go about getting the equipment? Did the school provide it, or do you have to get it?
I basically rented everything through the school itself, and all the equipment would be stored for the weekend at a facility at the school. well, for security related reasons, and we would then have to transport it back and forth every night.
Oh wow. Yeah, I guess every college does it different, so I'm not sure like how it goes about. So I'm always asking that question. But that's pretty cool. So they let you use all the equipment. That's awesome. What kind of camera did you use?
We shot with Canon C300, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And when you do something like that, like did you have a lot of lights because you're inside, or did you use some of the lights in the room, or just use like LEDs, or what did you go about with the lighting?
All right. Okay. Yeah, we used a lot of matte lights with that set, and also like I had I worked with a lot of the production crew, and then we would determine what would work best for the shots. Like even before we started filming, like we went out like 3 weeks before the start of filming to the location, so that obviously like the cinematographer and everyone else could basically get an idea of like what the set is going to look like and how we would basically be able to film it and like what would need to be done on the day.
Mm-hmm. And then were people like the cinematographer and other people, did they also go to school for the same thing, or did you have to just get people?
No, the entire the crew was entirely Drexel students.
Cool. Yeah, because I was asking that too for some colleges, and some get a crew, and then some colleges they say, "Oh no, I had to get this person because we each had our own project." So I guess it's different for everything. Trying to learn because I teach high school film, so it's like, oh, how do people do different things? So it's pretty cool to talk to you guys and see all the differences from each school and how things are done. But mostly similar. It's mostly similar. Yeah. So, anything else did you want to add about your film?
I would say that Waterlogged is definitely, in terms of projects, like something that I've put in like the most time into up to this point, when just in terms of the fact that this was something I wrote back in like late 2020, and then I ended up filming it the following year, and then having to basically do a lot of post-production work as everyone's scattered between in New York, New Jersey, in Philadelphia, and then having people then and having to not have the time to work on it, and then finding new people. Oh, it definitely was time consuming, but I will say that I'm satisfied with the final product.
Yeah.
This also was as I mentioned, I was a writing minor, but I also am someone who came from an editing background, and this is one of the first projects that I wrote and directed that did not edit. So it was also a process of having to learn to trust someone else with something I made, and I feel like that definitely made it work out for the better, just having multiple hands on it.
Seems like a good learning experience, though, like having what you had to go through and dealing with different people and things like that. I had a similar situation in one of my films. An editor and an actor, we had to go do reshoots, and the actor could never do it. So I was going to replace the actor, do it all over again. It was crazy. It went on for a long time. So kind of a similar type of situation with the editors too. Took forever. So I had this film for a long time, and it finally came out, and it actually came out good. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be so bad, but it came out good. So, but very, very long wait. So sometimes that happens. But, it's a good learning experience.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So thanks for giving me for a few minutes today, and hopefully we'll get to see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. Of course.
We're here again, and you have another film, Gentle Boy.
Yeah, I got this was something that came to fruition when I was directing my first feature back in October of 2021, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And I hired Jacob on as a stills photographer. He was an assistant to my friend Charles Chesler, who's a great photographer. And I figured it'd be a great experience for Jacob. And he came by, and then during our lunch break, he approached me with the story. There was no script read yet. I mean, there wasn't a script written yet.
No.
And so I said, just, germinate. Let's just pop out some ideas there. And, over the months, we started to form a story, and it became more biographical, the more we talked about it. And I said, well, that's what we're going to hit on right here. I think we've got the story right here. And, it's like, it's a universal story, really. And, because for the life we choose for ourselves, CJ. I mean, our family oftentimes says, "Oh, that's really sweet," but get a backup job or something like that.
Yeah, that's my
But
whole.
exactly. But I mean, but as we know in the business calls us, not the other way around.
Mhm.
And so we finally got a table read, and I was very excited about the cast that they brought on. We only had one or two that we needed to cast, and then I reached out to my friend Amanda, who who's
Yeah.
won a couple of awards at your film festival,
Yeah.
and she turned me on to Stephen St. Pierre, who played the mentor who comes in from the New York Times, and he just absolutely killed it. I wanted my friend Ezra Knight, who is our New York local president of SAG-AFTRA, to play the role, but he was busy
No.
and couldn't commit. So we were up against it, and then finally we did a Seed and Spark fundraiser, and we raised $23,000 in 4 weeks or something like that.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's pretty
And then, I mean, and then we got to space. We did all the back stuff. That we had to do the pre-production stuff, and we found a space in not Battery Park, in the Navy Yards
good. Oh
in
wow.
Brooklyn. Yeah, and we found this space, incredible space. Got everybody together, and then shot 20 pages in 2 days.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
I guess you're used to doing that though.
Yeah, I mean, Brothers McMullen, we took us 8 months, big difference, but
Big difference,
it's
yeah.
under the pressure, and it really helps when you have a really, really good crew, and and we all believed in Caleb, and under his direction. This is the first time he'd shot something this long. I mean, he'd shot a short before, but it was only about 5 or 7 minutes, and he was just wondering what he could do with $23,000, and you see it up on the screen now. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is this did it just finish editing and everything, or was it done for a little bit? Or
well, we finally got final edit. So we finished in September, and we finally got final edit probably sometime February. Yeah. So then we started. Then we did one screening for friends and family, and it was a big hit, of course. So you don't really know.
yeah.
And then we were accepted to the Fort Myers Film Festival, and it did very, very well there.
Well,
And then we got accepted by you, and then we've got about 4 or 5 other exceptions coming up. So
wow, that's great.
yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, not that while. It feels like a while.
Well, yeah.
Had you here.
Well, COVID, so
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was like, but we had one in March, and I'm like, oh, it feels like it was so long ago. It wasn't really that long ago.
No, not really. But I mean, time is a construct right now, and 3 years is like 3 days, and but when you get up into the tender age that I am right now, I mean, 3 years is quite a long time,
Yeah, a lot of. I mean, it's been a crazy few years, but
It has. It really has.
I feel like everything's kind of I think it's gonna feel like back to normal again this time around, because there's a lot of people that have been at the Brightside in the past that are returning.
Great.
So it's kind of like a family reunion, because there's a lot of people that have been there in the last not in the last couple, but maybe right before the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of people returning.
Yeah, it's going to be like old home week, right?
Yeah. I noticed. I'm like, wait a sec, all these people, and then some people have met here and made movies together, and so that's the fun part about it. That's why I keep doing it.
Absolutely. I mean, the Brightside is a great festival, and I forget the first time I was there. I think I met you in New Jersey for the guild, for the Ridgewood Guild.
Oh, before that, Atlantic City.
Yeah, and before that, Atlantic City, exactly, with Joe Pepitone's.
Which I was watching the movie and go, wait a second, I know that place.
Yeah, I mean, which movie was that? Was that Stuck in the Middle, or was that
Jersey Devil?
Jersey Devil. Yeah.
That was I remember going. I was down there and I said, "Oh, I want to see a horror movie. I'm going to go see this Jersey Devil."
Boy, were you surprised?
Not only was it like a comedy, but it was like, Tommy Brightside, what's going on?
That was hilarious. Yeah.
I saw another. I was watching films for this one, and again, I'm watching it. I'm like, that place looks familiar, and then I saw Tommy again.
Oh my God, that's
Someone else.
hilarious.
So it's gonna another film's playing in the festival with Tommy, and it's so funny.
Tommy Two Scoops. It's our boy.
But right away I'm like, I know that brick.
Oh yeah, very well, very well.
But no, it's still fun doing it. I had to leave some festivals and doing different things, but
Mhm.
I mean, I just couldn't get away.
No.
Like it's so much fun. We do it twice a year. Why not keep continuing it? And on Saturdays, I have my students and other high school students and college students. Oh my God, the college films are ridiculous. So we got a future going. So
I love that. I love that part. And when I coach actors, especially the younger generation, I try to I try to have them understand the big picture about the business, but not so much that will like take away from their craft, but just be aware of the pitfalls of the business itself. The craft itself is beautiful and the process is beautiful. The best thing to do is to fail, because if you succeed right out of the box, then you think, hey, I don't have to learn anything.
Yeah.
But go out and do like a really, really bad off Broadway play and see if you even like it. And if you fail, then you can learn from it.
I'm going to see tomorrow after all that. Tomorrow I'm going to see Jaws.
Oh, very nice.
The play in
very nice. Yeah.
Broadway.
Yeah.
Jaws' son. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
For it. It's like when I was like, oh, I have to go. So I haven't been in the city in a long time, so it'll be kind of cool to be there tomorrow.
I'll see you in Times Square.
Yeah, absolutely. Good.
Yeah.
So you said that this was the director's first long film that he directed?
Yeah, it's I think Caleb's last thing was about 5 or 6 minutes or something like that.
And
it was really, really cool. And he was just really excited about getting a substantial budget, well, 23,000, substantial budget, SAG-AFTRA actors under the micro agreement, which, as the chairman of the low budget film committee, I helped write the language for that contract, knowing that if Brothers McMullen had a contract like that back in 1995, I'd be reaping in tons of residuals.
Yeah.
But as a result, we didn't have that contract. So it was basically a non-union film. But now, and rather than curse the darkness, I lit the candle and said I had to get involved on the inside and affect change from the inside. And that's what I'm doing. So.
And you did. I was watching it, watching all it.
I know.
It's crazy times, but hopefully we'll get through it and be better for it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully. Exactly. Yeah, we'll see. But so I thought he did a great job directing and the acting. The main cast there did a really good job as well.
Yeah, we had our first table read, and Jacob belongs to a troupe of young actors called Opening Act, which is down in Hell's Kitchen.
Wow.
And they nurture these kids up from the time they just get out of high school. And it's a collaborative effort. I've seen a couple of their performances, and it's really, really striking how good kids are at such a young age. I mean, maybe they always have been. I don't know, because I started pursuing acting in earnest by the time I was 26 or 27, which is my first film, which was Porky's. But before that, I was a musician and a lead man in rock and roll bands. But the minute I set foot on a movie set, I realized that was my calling.
Yeah.
And to see kids who are like even younger than that, really taking it up and taking up the craft. And everybody who was cast in that, aside from Stephen St. Pierre, was from the Opening Act crew.
Oh, wow.
Really good.
Yeah. They did a solid job and everything. And then it was edited well as,
Yeah.
Who did he edit? The director did it?
Yeah, Caleb edited, only because we didn't have the money to pay for an editor. So,
was he like, should I shorten this? Should I keep it long? He was like,
yeah, I think I've got 6 cuts of it. So, and he was doing, he was trying to do a little Wes Anderson thing with, shrinking the frames, during some scenes, and then opening them up when he felt, the need for the narrative to be opened up. But I kept, telling him, I said, go with your gut, and it's don't overthink things, right? If your gut is telling you it's the right cut, then that's the right cut, and we'll stick with it.
Absolutely.
And and you liked it right off the bat.
Yeah. And I like the art part too. Like, is he into art?
Well, that's that was Jacob. That's all of Jacob's photography.
Mm.
So he truly does have that kind of eye.
Yeah.
And it's funny because his mother is coming to the Brightside for the
Wow.
screening.
Yeah.
She doesn't really know what the film is about.
Oh,
But that is kind of what the relationship has been for Jacob and his mom over the years.
oh wow.
So it's going to be very, very meta. It's like a film within a film. So
Yeah.
it'll be great. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great place to do that kind of stuff. I love having like surprises.
I know. When you sit there for like 10 minutes, you go, is this film about me?
Yeah, you never know. That's
Yeah.
that's happened to me before, where I've done something and then someone watched it and they're like, "Wait a second." I'm like, well, kind of, sort of based, but not really. Come on.
Yeah, kind of.
Take stuff from real life,
That's right.
That's
That's
the way
right.
it is.
I mean, it's that right. What is
Yeah.
basically what it is, right?
So, are you now that all this is going on? Is there anything going on?
Well,
Filming, any acting? There's some contracts out there for indie, right?
Well, what happened is during negotiations, we had this thing called an interim agreement, and people are confusing it with being a waiver. So I'm just putting it right out there right now. It is not a waiver. Waiver means special treatment for certain people, for certain promotions and stuff like that. This is not what that is. An interim agreement is a collectively bargained agreement that we use, our contract that the AMPTP failed to sign.
Yeah.
So we're going to use our 2023 contract with the 11% raises, with the 2% streaming residuals on the back end, if there is streaming, right? But the AMPTP can't have any fingerprints over it at all. If they want to get involved, they will have to abide by our rules and our contracts. And so that may create a wedge, between those guys, because, let's face it, there's like 9 or 10, these guys in the room. Sony doesn't necessarily want what Amazon wants. Apple doesn't necessarily want what Fox wants.
Yeah.
It's all, and pretty soon they're probably going to cannibalize each other. And there might be like 3 or 4 of them at the end of the day. So, Paramount Plus, Peacock, all these.
Too many. That's the problem. Too many.
Well, that's the whole thing. And they have not all that much content anymore because they kept dumping series. They made an awful lot of bad deals.
Yeah.
The WGA is up in arms about it, especially the AI stuff, and so are we. And these are the proposals that we are like really standing strong on.
That would be like my number one, right away. I'm like, no.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, AI, it's here. We have to admit that it's going to be here and it's part of our future, right? But what we need are the 3 C's. We need informed consent, we need compensation, and we need control. How long are you going to use my image? Are you going to use my image in another production?
Yeah.
All these kinds of things. And, if you're using AI for somebody who is deceased, then you have to get permission from the estate of the family.
Oh, it's such a crazy thing.
I know. I was watching Righteous Gemstones the other night.
Yeah.
And John Goodman, is a flashback to when he was like in his 30s, and it was him, but he was AI'd, and it looked amazing.
No.
Like the first time I saw anything like that,
I don't even remember that part.
Was in The Irishman, right? And when they made De Niro look younger, and it was terrible, right?
Yeah.
It was really, really bad. It's gotten so much better, and that's what's so scary about that. So, apparently John gave permission, and he's fine with it. But there's some people, especially background people, who are not. Scan you once, give you half a day's pay, and then we can use your image for the rest of your life.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Exactly. I know. And then they can create a character from your background action.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought I'd see the day.
Well, I mean, these are the things that we've been talking about in the rooms for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And, they just never came back with a counter proposal that we were really pleased with. As a matter of fact, the very last counter proposal they gave us was on the last day of our extension. And we, as a body, almost in unison, laughed when we saw the proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really bad. You could have driven a truck through it.
Jeez.
Seriously. Yeah.
Man, I was out there. You were out there.
I know.
I think I walked right by you, probably, or I walked right by Paramount when everyone was on the WGA. I walked right by there. I think you were there.
And you were also at the El Capitan Theater, right?
Oh no! The what's the one? The Chinese Theater.
Oh, the Chinese Theater, right?
Theater. Yeah, Chinese Theater. That's where I was. Yeah,
right.
For Dances with Films, which I saw my students' film play up there in DCP, and I was just floored. It's really cool.
Yeah, was it good?
Cool moment. Yeah, I was like, wow.
Excellent. Excellent.
I wish the kids were able to go. But, but I represented. I took a ton of photos that I didn't even put together yet. So wait till I show that to the kids. I'm like, look what I did by myself.
Exactly.
I did everything. I even saw a rattlesnake come by me as I was up in the mountain by myself, walking up in the Griffiths, way at the top. I was at the top.
Wow.
And I saw a rattlesnake go by me. So
wow,
I was scared.
So, have you written anything? Are you producing anything now?
Oh my gosh, no, I'm so far. I had so many ideas up here. I really want to do something. So
okay,
I'm running out of time.
So getting back to the interim agreement, just very quickly.
Yeah.
So micro and ultra low and low budget films, if they are not attached at all to any AMPTP funding, distributing, promotion, anything like that, go ahead and shoot your films.
Yeah.
I know there's been an awful lot of confusion. Sarah Silverman did a couple of things on IG, but she didn't really understand what it was about. Okay. And I think she was speaking from a writer's perspective as opposed to a performer's perspective. And then she had a really nice conversation with Duncan Crabtree Ireland, our chief negotiator, and Fran Drescher, our president. And she kind of changed her tone, and she put out a second video on IG. You should check it out because she understands that we do want people to work.
Yeah.
We just don't want them to work for the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, because that's who we are striking against. As a matter of fact, we had one Sunday where we had Tom Cruise on Zoom with us, asking us permission if he could promote his Mission Impossible film. And we said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was pretty pleased about that. But, that was the deal. And, he acceded to our wishes. So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, looks like the next interview is coming up soon. So I just
man,
wanted to say hello for a few minutes and
always a pleasure.
What's up? And I liked your little studio there.
Yeah, man. I've got my studio right here.
That's awesome. Yeah.
All right, CJ.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow morning, and then we'll see you out in the Brightside in 2 weeks.
Okay, we're here with Wendy, and you made the film A Summer Dream. What made you come up with the idea for the film?
Yeah, so actually it's my capstone film from university. And so the thing that inspired it was during COVID, I found this website called Window Swap. Basically, it lets you look through a live stream from someone else's window that they submitted. So it could be from this window on the 14th floor of an apartment building in Russia, or in the suburbs of Wisconsin, and there's a garden. And it made me feel this sense of connection to people everywhere across the world. And then I was like, oh, I think I want to make something like that for my film, my senior film, that makes people feel connected with each other. So I made this film. That's why it's also a girl looking through her window and then reconnecting with her past and her culture. And
you said you did it for university. Yeah. Is it your final film for university, or you continuing on?
Yeah. So it was my capstone project. So it's the culmination of my university. But I do hope to continue working in film in the future. This is my first dabble in everything, writing the script and designing the sets and then animating everything, putting it all together.
Yeah, it's not easy to do it all, is it?
Yeah, there's so many different skills you need to have.
You did most of it all yourself?
Yeah, I did everything myself except for the music. I had a mutual friend compose everything for me and turned out amazing.
How
I
was
definitely
that?
couldn't have done that part.
Did they watch it first and then kind of come up with it, or just had some ideas, or how does that work with the
Yeah,
music?
so yeah, so I spent 1 year making it, so 2 semesters, and then in the second semester I had like like the idea was down, most of like the paintings were done, so I sent like what I had, and then she timed like everything is like timed to the animation already, so it worked out really well.
And animation is not easy. How did you end up doing that? Is there a certain program or anything?
Yeah, there's a bunch of programs that I use. So
Oh,
there's like Photoshop I use to
mhm.
design like first concepts.
Uh-huh.
There's so my film is 2D and 3D combined. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's the paintings were done in Photoshop and then I animated them in After Effects. And
Mm.
then all the 3D stuff was done in Maya, like the 3D modeling. It was textured in Substance Painter and then animated again in Maya. And
No.
and then the paintings exported out, put it back into Maya, so it's like a 2D painting rendered in a 3D environment.
Wow.
A lot of different softwares together.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, our students, I teach film in a high school, and we use,
Oh, awesome.
we don't really get that far. I would love to get that far and be able to do, I'm not that good at animation. We do have like an animation class that I don't teach, but
I mean,
they don't really
that
get it.
would be I would have loved a film class in high school.
It's a lot of fun. We have a really good time doing it. So,
That's
uh,
awesome.
and it's developed, it's changed over the years too, because when it first started it was more, this is history of film and this, and now we just get like right into it. Here's our cameras, let's go, this is what you do. So it gets
Wow.
on.
Super
So
hands-on, yeah.
yeah, so they learn a lot of mistakes through that first half of the year, and then usually don't really get a good film until the end, you know
Hmm.
but I guess it's a long process, as you know.
It is, yeah. It's amazing that you're teaching it to high schoolers. They have like this creative outlet at such a young age.
Yeah. Yes, we use like Canon cameras and stuff like that. But I would love to get into more like animated and animation and 3D and 2D stuff.
Oh yeah, for
I'm not good
sure.
at it. I didn't really learn that. That's something I would love to learn in the future. So then I
Mm.
can teach it to them. But we don't even I wish we could get that far. The year goes by so fast, and then we have an advanced class. We still don't get to it.
Oh no.
We get to like claymation, so they get to use the cameras and do some claymation.
Yeah.
That's the extent of that, unless some kid really wants to get into it and on their own they do a kind of something that you would do, and then I'm like, I if you know how to do it, go ahead, because I can't.
Yeah, there's just even just like animation, there's so many different kinds of animation. Um yeah, it's just like so much.
So yeah, so even though it's like how long did it take to do the animation part? And I mean, if you had like a long film, it'd be crazy, right? Take a long, it was like a little over 2 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's only 2
Okay.
minutes long and it still took me a full year
Yeah.
to make, like 2 semesters.
Wow.
The first semester was purely just designing like and painting. So no animation yet. And then the second semester I brought everything together and animated it. You have to like separate the painting, the 2D painting has to be separated into a bunch of layers so you can move things. And then the 3D, I didn't model the character, I brought that in, but
Mm.
you have to animate it in 3D.
Wow.
So second semester was dedicated to just animating.
It just goes to show you, it's like the people that are making animated films and
Yeah, the feature lengths.
it's like, what? How
It's
long of a process? It used to be
yeah.
so long. It used to be a long time ago, and now a little bit faster, but still, it's a ridiculous amount of people working on these things.
Hmm.
I've shown like documentaries on like how they some of them make the claymation type stuff and how they put the different heads on it and everything.
It's crazy, especially claymation, I think, because you need so many. It's like so small too, and then it's like just a small movement every single time, and you need just like animated films in general. It's just such a big team of people with different skills and expertise to put, and they spend years just making a film.
and it's like just even so if I do a 30-second claymation with them, it drives them crazy how many shots they got to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And move it little.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. I'm like, one of my lights just fell. Great. But I can't imagine just doing that for as long as you did for college. It's just very, very tedious.
Tedious, but rewarding, I would say.
Yeah. So yeah, so when you finally got the finished product and all finished and everything, it was really rewarding.
I would say so.
Show it? Did you get to show it? Went to the class or to who was like the first audience that you got to show it to?
Yeah, so at our school, we have like a full animation department-wide final critique. So
Wow.
all the students who've taken any animation class, like animation for games, character design, everything, we show our final projects together. It's like a full day event from like 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we just show our projects. Capstone, which is my class, all the graduating seniors, we showed ours at the end of the day. So that was my first small screening. And now I've been applying to a bunch of film festivals to hopefully reach like a bigger audience.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we have a really cool set of. We have 2 college sets, and they're the college films. It just we were just talking to Jack Mulcahy beforehand. We're like, all these college kids are doing such a good job, which is good for the future for us all.
Yeah.
The films are amazing. They're amazing.
That's amazing. I really, really wish I could go, but I can't.
Yeah.
But will it be online at all? Could I like tune in?
No, yeah, we don't put it online. That's just live event.
Okay.
It gets all crazy when you do
that makes sense.
stuff, especially when there's a live and that. But I have done Fest online before, well, during the pandemic, but now it's now we're just live. So, but yeah, just to get all the rights and to move this and that.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, unfortunately, but yeah. So if then we have the 2 sets, and then we have a little award show. So if anything, we can just send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm asking I think my family wants to go, and then one of my friends also wants to. So
yeah, if they come, that'd be great. Yeah, if they want to, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have so we have 2 good sets. I forget which one you're in, the first or the second, but set. But there's back-to-back sets, and then afterwards an award show. It moves pretty fast, but they're really good films to watch. So
sounds like it'll be great.
Yeah, it's a fun time, and it's in Jersey City in a Brightside Tavern. We got 2. I forget what. I think it's upstairs. It's a nice room upstairs that it might be playing in, and so it's a little bit away from the bar. There's like 3 rooms: the bar room, and then there's 2 rooms where we play the movies and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. A lot of filmmakers go, so it's just a good time, and we continue to do it. It's our 17th one. So.
Wow. Long time. Have you been organizing it all 17 years?
Oh no, so we do it twice a year, so 9 year 9.
Okay. 9
to 10, so twice a year. But yeah, we started it 9 years ago. I started another fest, I think 11 years ago, and I left that fest. And I had started this one on the side too, and it's been going well. And I didn't leave this one. I left other ones because as you know, like everything gets crazy and busy. Time goes by fast too, so it's hard to do as much as you want to do, especially in the industry.
Yeah.
So what's new? What's up for you now? Are you working on anything new, or where are you at this point?
Well, so I just graduated from university, so looking for jobs at the moment.
Yeah.
Like immediately coming up for me, I'm going to be going to SIGGRAPH. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
No, not sure.
It's a computer graphics conference that they hold worldwide and annually. This year, it's in LA, and I'm volunteering, and it's like literally next week, so that'll be exciting. Yeah, those are like my next career steps so far.
I was just out in LA. It was
Oh,
cool.
really?
I haven't been out there in a long time, so we had a student film play in the Chinese theater. So
oh wow,
it was
that's awesome.
It was a really cool experience. So Is that where it is? Or some place in LA? Is there a convention?
Yeah, I think it's just called the LA Convention Center. I've
Oh,
actually never been to California at all.
Well, it's a good. It. I don't know. Living there, I don't know, but to visit, it's cool. It's a pretty
Okay.
cool place to visit. And I went by myself this time, and I just did things that I wanted to do. That if I've been out there with other people, like they'd probably be like, "No, I don't want to do that." So I was hiking left and right, doing all this crazy
Wow.
stuff, going to concerts, going to these like club concerts that I've never been to, just for the history.
That sounds so fun.
It was a good time. It was only like 4 days, and I packed everything in 4 days. But it's a cool experience. Even to go down, if you go down by the Chinese theater there, right there in the Walk of Fame and the handprints, and then you look up the Hollywood sign. It's just cool. It's a really cool thing.
I can't wait.
You see it on TV, you see it on pictures, but to be there, it's like I mean, there's a lot of craziness around there, a lot of people. So just you don't want to stay there too long. But it's cool to see. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, good luck with all that. Yeah. So you're gonna go into more. You want to go into animation or graphic design, or where's your?
So I would say I'd love to go into pre-productions, like character design. Yeah, just like visual development side of animated films. That would be my dream, I think. But I'm also open to doing like motion graphic animation as well. That's like I'd say most of my expertise is in there.
Cool. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, yeah. Congrats on all that, and we're excited to show your film in less than 2 weeks. I guess it is.
Coming up so soon. Yeah.
Soon.
Thank you so much for accepting me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great. It's my first acceptance.
Oh, it is? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good feeling. Yeah, it's too bad you can't be here, but if anyone wants to come, absolutely, they should come.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. Thanks for giving me a few minutes here, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
We're here at Cameron Spector, and you did Knocking on Doors, which you may see a cameo by someone. I wonder who.
Don't know who.
Red. So my face is red on this camera, really red, and because of the lights and the green screen, it's not this red. You saw me today. I'm not this red.
You're not that red. No. You're a lot less. You're a lot more pale and a lot less red. It's not. You don't have constant sunburn. It's not. That's not you.
If I didn't have the green screen, I wouldn't need so much lights, and then it would look like your background there. And so I went with the green screen, trying it out. So it is what it is. But anyway, we are here to talk about Knocking on Doors. I was there for 1 day of production, but tell me a little bit behind the scenes and how the production went.
Sure. I mean, it was like I always am surprised how smooth that shoot was. Like usually there's always a problem. That shoot, absolutely like flawless. Once we got into production, we had an issue before getting everyone down, and
isn't there a storm or something?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I believe it was a hurricane like type of thing that was hitting. Like it hit North Jersey and New York, and then I was calling my mom like, no, we're stuck on the Parkway going down from New York, and we cannot leave.
Wow.
And they're like, what do you mean? There's nothing happening here. We have some light rain. I'm like, of course you do.
Yeah, there was nothing.
We had to push everything for a day as a result. My DP came in the next day, so the first day of shooting late, because we had to take the C streak in. Like it was absolutely bonkers. But after that, like it was smooth sailing. Everything worked. We had a great time, and I think you see in the final product, it was something that was very cool.
Yeah, good. So how did you go about getting all your actors? Was it backstage? You knew some? How do you?
Well, so I knew Logan, right? Our star Logan, who, funny enough, won last year's Best Actor award in the student category.
The other film.
Another film, of course. And he did most of the casting process from there, kind of recommending actors and then getting tapes and all that kind of stuff. But now, Marcus, who's Marcus Troy's in it, and Jen, absolutely amazing actors. There were two other bigger leads, I would say, or the major supporting characters, and they were amazing, and I loved each and every one of them. And great cast, absolutely amazing cast. But yeah, Logan did the most heavy lifting for the casting.
Based on you?
It is. So back in 2018, I ran for office. I ran for borough council here in Fairhaven, and I was 18 years old, and it was a very big learning opportunity and growth, and it, like, just as the movie is about like what it means to be an adult, what it means to kind of really grow up, like that's what I had here. I truly only in that moment learned what it means to kind of be an adult, or rather, what it means in the real world, in the sense of that it really doesn't mean anything, and it doesn't matter. You have to act it, and that's all that matters in the end.
How is it? I know you go to Germany quite often, or school in Germany. So how is it going back and forth from there to here, and then you're filming here?
In general, I love it. I love going back and forth. I like coming back here and doing stuff here. I mean, yes, from the whole logistical standpoint, that first like 2 days of jet lag, not the best days of the year. Yeah. But it's a different vibe out here, and I know people out here, and as much as I love my friend group over there, I have my friends over here, and it's a whole different experience. And as far as filming goes, I think because I've been filming here for longer than I have over there, I have a more stable network of people that I use. And not that the people that I've worked with over there have been terrible. I love everyone that I've worked with over there. And when I'm thinking about when I shot Guardians of Berlin out there, and that was an amazing team, but it's more established here. And so as a result, I have a little bit more leeway with specific functions as a result of that. And so it's always an experience coming back and kind of come back with the group together, and the whole crew coming together and shooting another movie. So
yeah, so you're gonna be shooting in really soon. So do you go with like the same crew, different people? Some people can make it, can't, or same actors kind of thing, or are you different cast?
It depends. It really does. So for this next movie, this is the first time in quite a long time that I haven't worked with anyone in the cast prior.
No Logan this time?
So Logan was like, I love this script, I love this story, but I you know what? I think I have better people in my network of actors. Why don't I cast this for you? So he's our casting director and one of our producers this time around.
Wow.
But don't worry, I'm going to direct him again at some point. Like but I kind of have to agree, he has an amazing eye for casting, and amazing eye. As an actor, you kind of know what kind of character you're looking for. Yeah. And so he has that great eye of like, oh, I know that this is needed for this character. And so as a result, we have an amazing cast coming together for this shoot. And as far as crew goes, we have some people coming back. Our production designer for Knocking is coming back for the next movie. Sound guy is the same way. And you kind of work from there. I mean, it's all about availability and who's available when.
That too.
But I love working with the same people. I think it streamlines the process. I think it makes it easier and more simple. And because of that, I like doing it that way. But as it is within this industry, you kind of have to roll the punches. And great new DP as far as pre-production has gone. Nick has been amazing, and I can't wait to be on set.
Yeah. I know. I just get the bug all the time myself, especially when I'm not, but try to keep myself busy. But I want to be on set too, somewhere, everywhere. It's an addiction, I think.
Yeah, and we were very concerned with the strike that was going to foil our plans. Luckily, the agreement that we're working on is not on strike at the moment.
I'm just talking to Jack about all that stuff. He was kind of announcing like this and that.
Yeah,
pretty cool to like have him say, yeah, you can do this, you can do this.
Yeah. And Michael, so we're working on a micro budget agreement with this one. And as a result, we're not affected by the strike, which has been a godsend. I mean, not that we are anything but a small indie production of 15 people just hanging out, right? But it would have been a blow for a lot of other plans for a lot of people, including myself, had it not gone through. But we're excited. We're super happy. And I cannot be any more excited than I already am.
But so it's cool. I know you were your last film went around quite a bit to different festivals, and now Knocking on Doors. How many festivals have been in now? I think it's
So this is our third, and it's going to look like our final. I think that's kind of the end of the road. Yeah, it was great. We started at Garden State Film Festival.
Yeah.
Always loved being with them. Then we went over to the Count Basie Teen Arts, where I won my first ever award as a director. Like, that was absolutely amazing. And then we're coming here, and we have 4 nominations here at the festival.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. We'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot. Oh my gosh, there's so many good colleges. It's too bad you can't make it, because 2 sets of just the work is incredible. I'd say a lot of these college films would probably beat out the on Sundays films, those regular.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they're that good. I mean, it's amazing that, like, our future is good in this industry with all these college kids coming out and just I'm blown away with some of the work. And I'm watching for other festivals and watching a lot of college films, and like, man,
look, the future is bright, and that makes me so excited. I mean, as a college kid, it makes it hard to compete, but
but it's good. Competition is good. You want good. You don't want
100%.
crap.
But on a broader level of, especially, I hope that one of my bigger pushes is that young people don't always get the chances that they kind of always deserve, especially once you go higher on those levels, because they want to see that you have that you're able to make money, even though you haven't been able to make money yet because you haven't been in the cycle yet. And so that cycle kind of, it's a closed loop, and if you're not in that loop, it's really hard to get in. But I hope that this kind of, our generation of filmmakers kind of brings that to the table. I'm super thrilled. And I know that I personally have only been getting better. I know everyone else around me has as well. And that's why I can't wait for this next movie.
So you wrote it, and you're directing it and doing everything else on it?
So you're talking about Knocking now, or you're talking about my next movie?
The next one.
So I am
part of the do you just kind of stick to the writing and directing?
So I always do the writing and directing, although this one I co-wrote it with someone, my buddy Justin Chapman, who I think we've had him on some other show before. He is a good a good buddy of mine, and we write a lot of stuff together. So he helped co-write this. I do the directing, and then I'm usually on the producing team. This time we have a pretty decently sized producing team, and I've been able to be more hands off on like the logistical side of things, which has been very nice.
Yeah,
because it lets me focus on directing more, and as a result, that's kind of where we've been falling. But yeah, I kind of that producing, writing, directing is kind of where I feel like I shine the most, and that's where I like staying. I don't like being anywhere else at this point in time.
Absolutely. Well, I know in Knocking on Doors, you had a pretty good, people working, good production crew there. Since I was there watching, so that was pretty cool to see all that, and to be right here in town where we live around our area. So that was kind of cool too.
I love it. You know what? I cannot give enough love to that team. That team was absolutely amazing, and as I said, a good chunk of those people. Maggie, our production designer, Ed, our sound guy, Devin, our AD, among others, are coming back to shoot the next one. And that's all that matters, right? It's not, I don't keep people because like it's convenient. I keep them because they're good at their job, and why try to reinvent the wheel in that aspect, right? Like every new movie is a new adventure as it is. So let's try to keep as many constants as possible, especially if it works. And that's the highest compliment to them of how hard they work on set and pre-production, and how much they care about these projects. And even though there is no money involved, but what there is involved is a passion and love for this art. And I am so thankful to each and every one of them. They all know that, but I can't stop thanking them.
How many days was Knocking on Doors? Like 3 days?
3, yeah.
What about this one? Is it going to be 3 days?
This one's going to be 3. Yeah, you know what? I'm still sticking to that, like, 12-ish page script, so we'll be around 3 days. We're going to Lakewood this time, which is absolutely exciting. One of our locations needed a tower, so we were looking around. We got the Lakewood Fire Tower, and the Lakewood Fire Department was like, "Yeah, no, come on, come down, you're good." I'm like, "Perfect, I love this." So
cool.
It's super exciting.
Yeah, that's cool. A little different location. That's awesome.
Why not? we're there, and then we're in Fairhaven at Fairhaven Fields, and we're at my parents, and then we're doing a deli. It's great to mix the old and the new, and that's kind of what we love doing. I mean, I've had a good relationship with the town of Fairhaven for the past almost 10 years, so it's been very exciting to continue that relationship with this last film. Of course, Knocking, of course, was very Fairhaven involved, but with this next film as well.
What camera do you use? Do you rent out the equipment, or do you have the camera?
So not whatever my DP says he has.
Yeah, that's the best.
So I cannot tell you. I know we're using a Sony system this time around for this next movie. I know Miguel for Knocking had a Blackmagic pocket.
So he had some good lenses, right?
Yeah, he had some great lenses. Oh, look, that man right now is in France, which is why he's not shooting this next movie with me. He's on a documentary shoot in France.
There you go.
So he's a busy guy, and all the love to him. But life still goes on for the rest of us, so we need to find new people. But
yeah, absolutely.
What happens?
Great. Well, thanks for giving me a few minutes here today.
Thank you for having me, CJ. Always a pleasure talking to you.